Hey, what's up YouTube? Skybatcher here, and we're back on day 3. Very late day 3 beard. I believe there's only roughly 2 hours until day change, so if we open the newspaper and we have a look at that, we can check that out. So if we have a look at the newspaper for day 3, we can see that up in first place we have Germany, followed by Turkey, then I believe that's Alberta? Let's double check that. Could be wrong. Yes, I got it right. I'm starting to recognize the flags. This is good. And then, oh god. Ooh. I think that's American? Colorado, damn it. I was about to say Carolina, but I know that's an AI, so it couldn't have been that. Anyway, and then we have Southwest or South Africa, followed by, I think that's China? Yep, nationalist China, and Finland. Did I get that one right? Yeah. Then, of course, underneath that is me in 8th place on 57 victory points. So, making progress. So at this point in the game, I've got a decent enough army, but my economy is falling behind. I'm struggling to update buildings, and if I try to produce troops at the same time, submarines are an exception, I'm producing one, I'm going to quickly run out of resources. So in particular, iron is really holding me back. Although I have lifted my production up about 1,500 since yesterday, that is due to a massive increase in morale from capturing the capital of the Falklands, and from capturing the capital of Chile. So the morale alone has lifted that up 1,500, and that is a massive boost, but it simply will not be enough. So even in this non-core province, I have started building infrastructure to help increase that production. Within the other non-core provinces as well, I have started building it as well. Well, it's taking that so long. That's odd. That probably shouldn't be taking that long. Let's cancel that. 2 hours and 14 minutes. And start it again. Yeah, it's one of those glitches. I hate it when they do that. That makes no sense. Anyway, that should have been finished days ago. So, back to where we are. Our economy is lagging behind and we need to do something about it. So I'm investing heavily in our iron side of things to lift up the iron production, and then we will be able to lift up the rest of our economy with it. But at the moment, we're struggling to even produce tanks. I should, by this point, have light tanks, but I don't. I'm not going to let that hold me back, though. I'm still going to keep moving forwards. So I'm also going to spend a little bit of resources on upgrading my goods production, because I do this all the time. I upgrade my iron and my oil, and then I go to build anything and I don't have the goods to do it too. So once this hits, oh, it's ticked over. Let's come down to here, come into here, and although it would make sense to upgrade the industrial complex here because I'm building troops here, I'm going to actually do it here so I can just, I'm going for resources at the moment, not increased production time. I have got the barracks working, so that will decrease the time to produce the submarine by 25%, so that will make up for that. I'm leaving the barracks on at the moment because I've got plenty of food, but manpower is sort of holding me back. I'm going to upgrade my economy, and then I'm going to push out a wave of troops. And if I don't have the manpower at that point, I'm not going to be able to get out that wave of troops. So my manpower has already increased by 1,000, I believe, over the last 3 days, so that's awesome to see. And yeah, so we're making about 6,000 a day, so it is actually a pretty slow climb, and manpower is going to get to us sooner or later, so we have to keep expanding. In terms of where we're going, we're heading up north. So I'm sending my troops via sea because no one has a navy, for one. If we have a look at all these cities down here, there's no way the guy we're going for has a navy, because he simply does not have any ports, so he couldn't have one even if he wanted one. And we know for a fact that for some reason it's glitched out and his troops are all in here. So on top of that, we are going to go and definitely take this out to finish off Chile. But the reason we're not marching through here is because it will take a goddamn day. So if I, for example, get this anti-tank piece and I try and move it up to there, the quickest way is to actually go by water. But if I try to do it like this, as you can see, it's going to take 1 hour. Well, it's going to take 1 day for it just to walk all the way up to there. So that's way too slow. So these troops are just going around, significantly cuts the trip in half. So that's what's happening there. So if I turn off morale map, give you guys a good pick, you guys can see what's happening. Although I don't think it makes much of a difference at this point. It kind of helps over here, I'll admit that. So if we come over here to where East Brazil and this guy are fighting, we can see that, as I predicted, East Brazil at this point has taken over control. East Brazil was able to get an early lead in terms of industrial centers, and due to that advantage, he was able to produce more troops. Although I can't see the map, it does appear though that this guy has been nearly pushed out of his core territory, while East Brazil still controls some of his. Now, they do both control a few industrial centers, but East Brazil has managed to come out on more. As you can see, he has one here, another up here, and another up here. But in the process, he has also lost some to his enemy. This one here in particular, and this one here as well. Although he does also control some other cities, the industry and industrial complexes in these appear to have been trashed. So at this point, it seems very much that this battle here is in the favor of East Brazil, as I predicted. Moving up in the South Americas, to the north end of South America, we can see that Venezuela and Colombia are both taking out AI nations. Now, I hope that these AI nations take long enough and slow them down long enough that I can get in there and take all of this first and then come back down for Bolivia. I can't imagine that East Amazonia and Goyas, if I'm pronouncing that right, are going to head this way anytime soon. Based on where they're building fortifications and stuff, I think they're more worried about this border up here and protecting themselves from the other players. And it, to be honest, makes more sense that they'd head for the AI nations first instead of attacking a player like that, although this is inactive. So we'll see what happens there. We can also see that these guys down here have captured the AI territory that was here, here, and down here. So they've made good progress as well. And that's really all that's happening down this side. So if we head further up into Central America, there has been some fighting between these two, but it appears as though they're either at equilibrium or they have stopped. Yeah, so it looks as if, if we turn around map back on, we can see that South Mexico has captured back these provinces. I wonder if they're still at war. Let's check that out. Yeah, they're still at war. So let's close that and come back to it. We can also see a lot more fighting around the area, and we also have Colorado, who was on the scoreboard, and Alberta up here. Now, the reason Alberta's moved so far ahead is he's managed to take out this player here, whose name I can't pronounce. Yes, I'm not going to butcher that. Anyway, moving back on down here, we can see a little bit more progress over here by some of the active players. Now, there are still quite a few AI nations hanging around, and these usually go pretty quickly, so that's interesting to see. Let's turn around map back off. Honestly, you can see so much more detail. You can see where the fighting's actually been. Like this, it's so much easier. You can see how recent it was too. So, into Asia we go. Now, I'm pretty sure Asia has been pretty nice for a change, which is honestly pretty odd. Usually Asia ends up being that messy, you know, okay, it is. So if we turn around map on, we can see where all the conflict has taken place. Now, I was completely wrong about that. There has been a lot of fighting in Asia, but it's not as bad as it usually is. It's usually a bit of a mosh pit over here. Things usually don't go too well. There is quite a bit happening, and it looks as though sooner or later we are going to have some powerhouses pop up. Some people are going to control the region. It's hard to say at this point, but Indochina is looking in a good position. So is this guy up here, although he is surrounded by other player nations, so it might be hard for him to hold that. Korea is also on a good footing, just based on his position. So if we come down over to here as well, we can also see that when we left off yesterday, Saudi Arabia and Turkey were invading Syria, and along Turkey's front, it does appear though it has ceased a little bit and has stopped. They may have ran into some difficulties and may be moving more troops in, considering there is now that home defense advantage. So if we have a look at some troops that are on their own territory, we can see that they have a 15% home defense bonus, and that really makes attacking early a lot more difficult than it used to be. Now I need to commit way more troops. We can also see that Persia is going for some of the AI nations, and we can see down here as well that Saudi Arabia is doing the same. To be honest, that's going to be actually a pretty close battle, considering that troop has a home defense bonus and is on defense, so that'll be a close one. Anyway, so Oh, it looks like Iraq's moved down there as well. That's actually getting pretty close to Saudi Arabia. Feel sorry for Iraq here because, I mean, he's literally surrounded. I don't know why he isn't helping Syria right now, because he's surrounded by 3 players in a coalition, literally. Like, I mean, there's nowhere for him to go. I'd be, you know, running to help Syria right now if I was him. So if we come into South America, we can see that Madagascar is making some mad progress right now. We can see that he has come across, and he might possibly be allied with South America, because I know South America was under attack at war with no one. That's odd. He must have come to peace with this player in here. So if we have a look at that, he is responding, but at this point, considering he has no industrial complexes left, he's going to be pretty hard pushed to actually come out on top here. So yeah, that's a little bit of a tough one. So if we move up, we can see that a few other players are emerging. He's starting to look pretty strong, taking out some AI nations, but really Madagascar is the only one here that's taking some serious action. There is a little bit of player-on-player action up here, but at this point, not too much. We can see that French Sudan has successfully counterattacked Lord Kek and has got some troops behind his lines. Now, in all honesty though, Kek has definitely dealt a lot more damage as Algeria, pushing through all the way up into here. So that's good to see right there. If we come up into Europe, we can see that Germany is being pushed back now. He did get kicked for double accounting, but at the moment it's a little bit of a mess. So we can see heaps of fighting going on in the region, especially around Poland. So is Poland still in the game? Jesus, I thought Poland was gone. And Ukraine, they're really going at it. They've been going at each other since the start. So if we turn around map off, hopefully that gives us a better picture of what's happening. So it's quite a bit of a mess right there. So I've pretty much been everywhere except Australasia. So I'll pop down there quickly and we'll have a quick look-see. Yeah, so at this point it looks like we're going to have 2 people controlling Australia, and that appears to be New South Wales. Yeah, it's New South Wales, right? And Western Australia. Looks like Queensland is getting pushed out, and soon Central Australia will be destroyed as well. So that's what's happening in there. Not much change is happening up here in these island nations. Obviously AIs are being taken out, but that is about it. So I'm going to end the episode here. I'm going to go work on my economy a bit and make some general progress and wait for my ships to and convoys to travel for days. Because I mean, if we come back over here, so going the long way around the world, you can see that my convoys heading all the way up there have over a day. So I mean, even by the time I record next episode tomorrow, I probably won't even be there. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode.